Hi, FlossTube. Welcome back to my channel. Formerly, I've been known as So Much to Learn, and I did film 3 videos with that name. But last night, as I was thinking about FlossTube and what I wanted to add, this name on my Ada just popped into my head while I was watching FlossTube. Not sure where it came from. That's not true. It came from a movie. Uh, but I just changed my Lanta to my Ada, and there we have my new name. I do like it. I think it will stand the test of time, and I'm glad you were able to come back. I know I have 2 followers, so thank you so much, Mom and Dad. I wouldn't be here without you. Today is Sunday, September 15th, and I'm happy to bring you more FlossTube. I have new beginnings with old friends. In FlossTube 1 and 2, I had a lot of jerky starts and stops. It was because I wasn't feeling comfortable in front of the camera. America's #1 phobia, believe it or not, is the fear of public speaking. I do that quite frequently in my role as a teacher, but also in my role as a union organizer. Being in front of the camera, talking to people I admire, people I watch every day, people I consider to be my friends, even though we've never met, it's a little daunting because I don't want to let the FlossTube world down. And so that's where I am right now. Today I'll be stopping and starting. Hopefully it's smoother because during FlossTube 3, I think I really started to feel my groove for the first time. Today I'll be stopping and starting between segments just so I can grab things to show you. I think that is what's going to work best for me. And then when I edit the film, I'll make sure that it's less nauseating or less choppy. There's some of you that I've watched as well, and the jerky movements just they don't sit well with my stomach sometimes. I'm starting off today by talking about last week. So, last week I tell my students is hell week for me. And that's because Tuesday was back to school night and I had a 12.5 hour day. I get to work at 7 a.m. Back to school night for me didn't end until 7:30. And then, of course, I had to go home and then I had to relax and unwind before I went to bed. I didn't get any stitching done that day. Wednesday, I had time off. I got to relax. We had a short day. Thursday was another long day. I was at work until 4 o'clock. I go to the gym after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I stay at work because if I go home between work and the gym, I don't get off the couch and go to the gym. So Thursdays is my Zumba class. And the students know that they can come in on Thursdays until 4 to get help. If I'm caught up on grading and no students show up, I am able to sew. On Tuesdays is the beginning cycling class that I like to take, and that's at 5:45. So I'm at work at least until 5. And again, if kids show up, they get to have tutoring. I have offered to show a couple students how to cross stitch, and I haven't had anyone take me up on it, but I did ask the art teacher if she wanted to dye fabric with me. The Rit website, they have recipes for the different colors and color combinations that you can make. So I'm going to take the fabric that has shown up in kits that I haven't used, and I'm going to play around with the colors with her in the art classroom. She also says she has a chemical for indigo blue, and I'm excited to look at that as well. Um, the reason it was also a hell week for me was on Friday, we teachers have to work extra supervision hours, and so I didn't get home until 9 o'clock. I was in charge of collecting tickets at the football game, and while it was just standing around, it's exhausting because when I'm teaching, I walk around the classroom constantly, and I was standing at the gate. So that was 14 to 15 hours on my feet. I have 3 more football games I'm going to work, and then I'll be done with my supervision. All right. So I talked to you about sewing when no students show up and when I'm caught up on grading. So the Kindred Stitcher, Lisa, has a project bag tutorial on her channel, and I found it or stumbled across it, and I thought she explained it really well. So I went ahead and tried making a project bag. I had fabric for 2 different bags, and I chose my least favorite fabric that I purchased to work with first, so that if I had any mistakes, I could still salvage it and wait to make my other pattern. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to grab the bag, and I'll be right back. This is my first attempt at making a project bag. I think I did pretty well, and it has the zipper. Um, I struggled a little bit because my needle wouldn't go through no matter how gingerly I worked, and it does on the back. It's still the leaves, and I think that I'm happy with it. There's one small area, and I'm covering it up with my hand over here, where I didn't get the seams to match up, and there's a little bit of pulling. I really don't think that that matters because as I hold it up, it's a project bag. Perhaps I'll feel confident enough to work with the clear plastic that people are using, but right now I don't feel that that's really necessary. Now I'm already using my project bag, and if you think that this is Randall Spangler, you are correct. I finished another diagonal on it, and I'm loving the way it turns out. So let me reach over here, and I got a new magnifying lamp. I love it. I wish it was a little bit brighter and it magnified a little bit better, but to say I was embarrassed by looking at my first stitches is an understatement. So what I've noticed is I got the Bright Tech Light View Pro LED magnifying floor lamp with 2.25 magnification. I was looking to my side over there. What I realized was that my stitches, even though they look great from a distance, magnified, they look horrific. Now, I did think about starting over again, but really, you can't see the mistakes with the naked eye. So I like that this project is going to show my progression from a beginning stitcher to a more qualified stitcher. The other thing I keep in the bag is this, let's see, this Solutions uh, art bin. It's a plastic, um, it's a plastic case, and you can see through the lid. I have a seam ripper. Oop, I have a seam ripper in here. I have a pen that also has the stylus on it, and of course my Holly Hobby needle minder. And I have different size needles in here, and I keep this in my bag. And typically there are a pair of scissors in here as well, because now that I have the bag, I've kitted up my bag and it's ready to leave the house at a moment's notice. I don't necessarily like taking the so many books, so little time out of the house because there's so many flosses and color changes. Um, but there might be a time, like when I go to HAEDCon. Registration for HAEDCon opened on Friday the 13th, and I was one of the first 50 people to register for the 4-day event, and I got $25 off my registration. Now, it's a 4-day event, Thursday through Sunday. I will leave work because I'm in California. I can do this. I will leave after work on Thursday because I get off at 12:30, and I will fly to Seattle, or no, Portland. I'll fly into Portland, and it'll still be early, and I'll get to enjoy the festivities on Thursday through Sunday. Now back to my project bag. I did pull out the lining. It is a very soft, it's a very soft leaf pattern. Unfortunately, the lining is sewed so that it doesn't open up inside and it acts more as a single piece of fabric than a lining to the bag. And for my first bag, I'm okay with that. I love this bag mainly because I made it. When I talked in my FlossTube video one about my top 10 things in cross stitch since I came back, one of the items was the bags. And I said, here, I'm just throwing my money at you. Don't fear if you make your own bags. I will still be purchasing, but they are super simple to make, and it makes me happy to be able to complete one. If you're interested in making your own bag like the one I just showed, Lisa the Kindred Stitcher, I'll put a link down here and you'll be able to go watch the video yourself. And I don't think you should have any trouble. This is the first time I added a zipper, and it was a piece of cake. I'm back. Last week, I kitted up three completely different projects, and I started one. I'd like to show you the first project I kitted up, and um, let's see. It is a Sue Hillis design, Pirates Love Christmas. And the reason I purchased this pattern specifically is that there's a Christmas exchange every year at my school with the teachers, and our mascot, we are pirates. So, how exciting is this to be able to stitch for one of my fellow teachers? I will probably also stitch it for myself. I went ahead, and you can see my Holly Hobby needle minder. I went ahead and started stitching this on, I have to pull it up, 28 count Mystic Cashel linen. I've never used 28 count, and I've never used Cashel linen, but I love the color. And I'm doing 2/1. The directions said use two pieces of string or floss. I decided to do it over one, so it was smaller than maybe a 14 count. So it's going really well. I got all of this done last night uh, in a few hours. The longer I work on this 28 count fabric, the easier it's getting, but I don't know that I'm going to go with smaller fabric. So I put this fabric and this pattern, and I put the floss that I'm using on my Instagram page. And I asked for advice because this is my floss. It's stored in a pencil case. Use what you have. I don't necessarily feel like I have to go out and buy everything. I already told you I'm a bobbinator, but I wanted to try something new. And this is what I have. And I went ahead and attached these to small keychains, and I'll turn it the correct way. You can see that in each keychain, if I can get it to go correctly, in each keychain, I've numbered the floss and I put the symbol down. All right, so I asked because I've never used floss this way, what do you do with the extra floss? Well, one person responded and said, you only take the one piece out of the six. And I thought I had to take the whole 6-piece string out. I tried it and I was surprised. It tightens up the other strings, but I can unbunch them. The other suggestion I had, someone told me to make a small piece of cardboard, punch holes in it, and label. And that way I don't have to waste any floss. And that was what I was worried about. What do you do with the floss after you're done with a certain color? What do you do? Do you use this style here? Do you have another style? I would really like to know what you do to store your leftover floss. Because if I were to put it on a bobbin, doesn't that defeat the purpose here? I would assume so. Now, I bought these. Someone said they bought theirs on Amazon. I bought mine on AliExpress. Um, I wasn't in a hurry to get them. They are a lot less expensive on AliExpress. So um, if you don't want these tomorrow with Prime delivery, I think I'll put a link below to AliExpress. They have multiple sellers. I never know which one to use. I just use the one that has the best reviews. So I had people asking me about these uh, on Instagram when I put the picture up. I love them and I'm happy with them. So this is the first project I kitted and started this week. I was slightly annoyed with one viewer's comment. Her comment was, "Well, I would never store my floss like that. It gets dirty." Okay, don't. But you're assuming I'm a slob, and I'm not. Um, I don't understand why some people only give negative feedback. I did put my top 10 video on FlossTube. I'm not on FlossTube, but on Instagram, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And I did ask for constructive feedback on maybe what I could do differently. One idea I had was to get a microphone, and I didn't want to spend money on a microphone. So what I did was find the right ear. I'm using my hands-free speaker. It works, and my voice is coming in clearer than my first and my second video. I didn't feel the need to go out and buy something new, but I did look. All right. Um, my other two projects that I kitted up, I'll show you the snow globe first. So I'll pause you for a moment so that I can pull that up. Both projects that I kitted up, they are from Cross Stitcher Magazine, November 2015. It's getting ready to disappear from my digital version. So I did go ahead and purchase a digital version to own, but I bought the chocolate Ada and all the fabric, no, all the floss to create this. I'm going to finish the Pirates Love Christmas first, but my next one, I'm not sure. Apparently, this project is only supposed to take 24 hours to stitch. All right, let me pause, put this back up. My sec, my second, or actually it's my third project that I kitted up last weekend is this little Russian village snow globe, and I fell in love with it. It's in the same cross stitcher magazine, and it's on 28 count linen, but I did end up buying the color it requires. But when I purchased it, I wasn't paying attention and I bought it in 14 count. So now I need to get the hoop because the hoop stays on it. It's finished with the hoop. So it's still in the plastic. See, it probably doesn't look blue right now, but here are all the flosses and I love it. This one is under 80 hours of stitching according to the magazine. I think I'm going to do Baby It's Cold Outside first, but oh, there's the blue. Maybe next time I'll remember to take the plastic off. I didn't remember this time, and I don't want to crinkle. I remember when I was watching the diamond painting videos and people were pulling out and unboxing their projects. Um, there would be a lot of people complaining about the crinkling of the plastic. I don't think I have to worry about you guys, but I just always keep that in the back of my mind. So this lovely blue fabric and all of the floss that's needed to stitch this snow globe Christmas village with uh, a shooting star across the sky. Very lovely. And again, this is in the November 2015 Cross Stitcher magazine. All right, those two are put away, and now I have another project that I'm absolutely going to do. It's out of this magazine, Crazy Cross Stitch. It's still in stores now. I looked and I did not see the date. That's probably on me because I didn't look carefully enough. But this is everything. Be so awesome. People think you're a myth. I'm going to stitch this. There's a little cryneck, there's a little glitter, there's a little bit of everything in it. And I'm going to hang this in my classroom. I absolutely love this. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I will finish by the end of the year, school year. When I'm paused, I try to scratch my face or my head. I try to take drinks of water. I do all of that when I am paused. Um, I may do it as well, you know, a little scratch or itch like that, but typically I like to keep my hands out of my face. It's like being in the classroom and talking to the students with my back to them. It makes it a little more difficult and unclear. I have my birthday sal, and if you've purchased the birthday sal to stitch along with me, I apologize. I apologize 110%. I opened the package last night, and the artwork on the package is horrible. I've said this in every video, if you look at her website on Etsy, the colors are stunning. And they may have wanted to save money. I don't know what they were trying to do, but Design Works really didn't do a good job with this. Okay. Now, I did buy some variegated floss to do the background of each of the squares. Uh, but what I think I'm going to do, because it doesn't call for full skeins, I'm going to probably combine colors and just use the DMC floss, one of each color, and use that for the backgrounds so that the coffee pops. And I have both choices, but since I'm not working on it until um, October 1st when I have that week off work, then I don't have to pay attention a little too much. I got the DMC variegated floss pack. I think it's wonderful, and I think a few of these will work, but there's no reason to go into these colors unless I have to, since I'm going to purchase all the DMC. Now, you might want to know, why would I purchase DMC when this is a kit? Another, and this white fabric here, I'm going to play with this with my friend and dye this. I did buy the gray dye from Rit, but I'm going to try a couple different colors. Why am I going to kit this up myself when it came with this floss? Well, when I was reading the book and figuring out the DMC colors, it gave the DMC colors, but it said they did not use DMC, or they may not have used DMC. I don't want to take any chances. I want to make sure I have quality material, and so I I'm dedicated to this project. I'm convinced that I can get this to look like the original artwork, and I can't wait for it to come alive. But that being said, I can't really do my best job of stitching with inferior uh, tools, inferior floss. and the fabric. So I will be kitting it up. You're welcome to join me if you want, because I know I just gave this kit a glowing recommendation. It's on Amazon. Um, the pattern sucks. It's hard to read. But I really think that the final product is going to be everything that the picture and the pattern do not call for. My style is hashtag Java365 SAL, and join at your own peril. While I was gone, I grabbed a couple fabrics I purchased from 123 Stitch. Um, and I have um, no plans to use the fabric, but look at how beautiful this is. It's opalescent, it glitters, it's one of my favorite colors. But now I'm stumped because I'll probably use this for a sampler, but I don't know what color would pop. Um, I think white might be my best bet, but maybe I need a certain shade of white. Is there anything you could recommend? I'm more than willing to listen. This is actually 28 count. There it goes. Crystal Huntress Opalescent Cashel Linen. If you have any suggestions, whether it's DMC or any of the fancy floss, let me know so that I can start kitting up another sampler project. This is Sampler September. I do have a sampler that I'm working on. You've seen it in my other videos, so I'm not going to pull it out. Even though it's Sampler September, I don't plan on working on it. What I like to do is when I leave the house, that's when I like to take that project with me because I'm only working with one color. Yes, I do have to count, but I don't have to worry about switching back and forth. The other fabric I purchased is a 25 count dark chocolate Lugana fabric. This is for Baby It's Cold Outside, but I bought a large enough piece of fabric that I can use it for other projects. Um, it's beautiful and it feels very nice. I have a problem, and I'm hoping you can help me with it. I need to set a budget on cross stitching materials, and I have not been living within a budget the last couple months because what happens is if I see it, I buy it. I cannot continue to live this way if I want to pay all my bills. And so I was watching an old Pam and Stephanie Just Keep Stitching video, and Pam had purchased a Picture This Plus um, piece of fabric in pickled, and I had to have it. So I found it on Stone Creek, and I bought, and then because it was fabric, I did have to buy a couple of patterns to make my purchase worth it. Um, Last week, I decided to go ahead and purchase Cross Stitcher magazine. Yeah, no, the World of Cross Stitch magazine. I already have Cross Stitcher magazine digital. The reason I decided to buy Cross Stitcher magazine is I paid $14 for my copy in Joann Fabrics, but when I did the math for the subscription, even though it was $100, which is a lot of money, what I realized was I was only paying $8 per book, purchasing it through a subscription. And I can I can justify that purchase. On Friday the 13th, I told you HAEDCon registration opened. There went $175. I'm on the wait list for StitchCon. If that goes through this month, I'll be able to pay it and all my bills, but it starts to add up. I bought the fabric from 123 Stitch. I bought patterns from ABC Stitch Therapy, but I think their website is just ABC Stitch. I've been looking at their clearance charts, which are half off, and I don't mind that they are on clearance because I have about 20 years of stash to make up for. And right now, I want to stitch just about everything I see. So that takes me to Christine from Stitch All the Things. And she found a pattern, Stony Creek Samplers, Christmas Sentiments, that she's going to start on November 1st. I'm going to pause so that I can pull it up and you can see it on my iPad. Give me just a moment. All right, that took more than a minute. I thought I'd lost my shopping list on 123 Stitch, but I went ahead and pulled the pattern up, Christmas Sentiments. I've been looking for a pattern that has a rather large poinsettia in it. I really like the flower, and if you know anything about me at all in my 4 videos, I am a Christmas stitcher year round. All right. Now, what I did notice between the time I went and shopped for this about 5:30 and now it's 7:15, 123 Stitch is out of the pattern. So, Christine, if you're watching, it looks like you're going to have several people stitching with you. I'm going to insert a link below to Christine's video. She does talk about what her what's missing and what you need that 123 Stitch doesn't include in the list. One is a gold bead, and another one is a floss that you need a second skein of. So you'll want to make sure you see the original video that she put up. And again, there'll be a link down below. So that's Christine at Stitch All the Things. That's in my cart as well at 123 Stitch. Of course, that's great. I was waiting till October to buy it, and they'll have more patterns in. And if not, I can just go onto eBay to get it. But even though I went on a bird walk and started talking about Christmas sentiments, I need a budget, and I need a strict budget that I adhere to. Uh, what do you recommend? $100 a month? 150? What do you spend? Well, I mean, you don't have to tell me what you spend, really. I'm not here to judge you, but I really have to get my spending under control because in this one aspect of my life, I've become a spendthrift. I'm just throwing money left and right. And that's okay because all my bills are paid, but there's going to be a time where I'm going to, have to have a talk with myself. So I don't know. Give me some suggestions on what you think a reasonable amount is. For me, I can go $100 to $200, no problem. Um, but I've clearly gone well beyond that this month. And again, if StitchCon sends me an invoice, I'll also be paying for that. Of course, StitchCon and HAEDCon are future events, and I can not feel too guilty about that right now. But what about when I get to both events? I'm going to want to spend money, and I can't be out of money at that point. So um, I just have to rein in my spending, and I have to know that as well because right now I'm at a point where I can stitch everything I have, but I really need to reel myself in because there's no reason to have hundreds of patterns. I told you earlier that I put a 1-minute video of my first floss tube on my Instagram channel. My Instagram channel is not Oh My Ada. That one was already taken, not here on YouTube, but on Instagram. So what I'll do and what I've been doing is putting a link below for my Instagram account. But I really need to give a big shout out to Jessica Stansberry. She does 2-minute videos on how to use or how to improve your YouTube videos. And the one I watched last night was how to make your video square. Because ultimately, if you want to put your part of your video on Facebook or Instagram, it has to be in a square format. In 2 minutes flat, I I got it. I did struggle a little bit because it was my first time, but it was a relatively easy process. Now, someone on Instagram said they weren't able to play my video, and they went and looked up the video on YouTube. I haven't gotten feedback. I've gotten a few more subscribers, and that's why I thanked mom and dad because even though they don't know I have a YouTube account, they very well might be the subscribers. I'm teasing, and this is all tongue in cheek, but I'm going to put her, Jessica Stansberry. Yeah, Stansberry. I'm going to put her video down below here so that if you want to learn how to put part of your video on Instagram or Facebook, you can learn. I did use OneNote and I use iMovie, and they both come with Apple, the Mac. Um, and I found it was easier to upload it from my tablet than my computer. My computer didn't really want to take the Instagram uh, video. I can put posts to Instagram from my computer, but the video worked best with my tablet. I have one more segment to film tonight, and then I'll be done. And I can't believe that in the last FlossTube video, I left it out. I think when I hit the 56-minute mark, I kind of panicked and shut everything down. But I left out my Shiro segment. I didn't have anything written down. I went off from my head. I did have sort of a plan organized, but I thought tonight that I would focus on two ladies that stitch together. They have a little over 2,500 subscribers, and their FlossTube name is Stitching and Doodah. A minute ago, I looked up their FlossTube channel. I'm subscribed to it, but it says that the channel is missing. There's no content. So the reason I wanted to talk about them today is because school started for a lot of children throughout the country after Labor Day, and they are both kindergarten teachers. And I love their videos. I just discovered them between FlossTube Video 3 and this FlossTube, and I wanted to give them a shout out. And maybe they turn off their FlossTube for the school year. If you know what's going on or you know what happened, maybe they changed their name like I did. Um, Please let me know because I loved watching the videos that I saw with them in it. I would hate to think that they broke up and someone split them up, but um, any information on where to get Stitching and Doodah would be greatly appreciated. So that's me in a nutshell. I hadn't planned to film this entire thing this evening, but this week I have my second job I'm working on Wednesday. So I know that I'll be busier this week and I don't really record at work. I could, and I've thought about recording at work. And don't ask me how this happened, But apparently, two teachers in the English department have decided that I am the iMovie guru. And one of the teachers wants to start filming his lessons and then showing it to the students in previous years. So, um, in our professional development, I'll probably be talking to him about that. I showed him a little bit of my first clip, not very, or my first YouTube video, not very long. I didn't show him my name, but I did show him that, hey, you can add slides in between, you can add titles and all of that. So he seems um, interested. He was talking about it. I didn't go to him to say, hey, look at my channel, because ultimately I have YouTube for the relationship between you and I. I have a work relationship and I have a family relationship, and I'm not necessarily letting those um, relationships intertwine. And mainly that's because my family doesn't like me cross stitching. I don't get it, but whatever. So um, this is just for us. And I don't really advertise that I have a FlossTube channel outside of the cross stitching community. That doesn't mean I don't trust you. It means that my family is weird and I don't want them to come on and ruin this for me. So, with that being said, be kind to someone and don't be hard on yourself. Have a wonderful week and enjoy stitching. Goodbye.